The way Shulk works in Smash is a lot like how Shulk was actually portrayed in his own games. He's somebody who's pretty simple at first glance and can get the job done, but a person that also has a ton of potential, a character that could just about overpower anybody when his skills were mastered, and somebody that didn't have the hardest skill floor to get into, but has a gigantic skill ceiling and a ton of stuff that you can learn and get better at. Shulk was a character that I'm going to say was almost so good in the last game. He had the range, the damage, the potential with some Monado arts just to do crazy things. He had all that, but he just couldn't quite reach the heights he needed to even with these tools because of his insane startup and end lag on all his moves. Sure, he could outrange and damage most people, but that didn't really matter when others could just play around you so easily. In Ultimate, Shulk has gotten so much help with one of his major flaws, that being his end lag, while also receiving a lot of buffs that help with his Monado mechanic, which didn't even really need them in the first place, but hey, that's pretty nice. Now, of course, his startup lag for the most part still is pretty bad, but with everything else buffed about him, if this was super great, honestly, he'd probably be kind of overpowered. As it is, he's shaping up to be an insanely good character, and while somewhat hard to master, I'm expecting a lot of great things out of Shulk in the future. For more future info on Shulk, hit subscribe as I'll be giving any updated information on him and of course every other character in Smash Ultimate to boot, along with a more advanced how-to on Shulk pretty soon. Anyways, he'll be going over the most important things / the best parts about Shulk. Now, I won't be going over every single part about the character's frame data, but that's going to be linked down in the description below if you want to read up on it. Anyways, as I mentioned, the end leg of his moves, mainly his aerials, are all way better. This means that you can space and land with them a lot easier now than before, and now you can actually hit your opponent's shield and not be punished by your opponent for spacing well, which happened a lot in the last game. This means that Shulk can now actually space with most of his aerials safely, and if he hits these moves, they're actually going to be comboing into each other and out of each other a lot more than before. Now, this in my opinion fixes his worst problem, and while the startup lag is still pretty awful, it's a lot more manageable now. Another thing you're going to notice when you're playing Shulk is that he's honestly much stronger now, which I didn't really expect at all. He kills a lot earlier now with his forward aerial, his forward and down smash, his up B, and forward tilt. He just has a lot more oomph in Ultimate, and I think you could honestly maybe classify him as a heavy hitter in this game. Add that to the fact that you can add on a Smash Monado, you're going to be finding yourself killing a lot earlier than you would ever expect on a guy like Shulk. Moving on, Shulk now has a ton of easy and high damaging throw combos, something I didn't really see coming. His grab is, kind of slow, so it might not be that easy to get all the time, but if you can grab your opponent in Speed Monado, or especially in Buster Monado, you're going to be finding yourself tagging on 30 to 40% near zero. Down throw forward tilt itself does around 30%, so yeah, just keep that in mind. For a more noticeable change, Shulk got a new Monado art wheel, which actually helps him pick the right art a lot easier and actually a little bit quicker. And overall, it makes it a lot easier to get used to the character and to play the character. And while there still are a good amount of benefits to using the old scroll way of getting your art, this is a nice addition to the character. This wheel can also lead to certain combos and tech which, just simply put, wasn't available otherwise, but I'm honestly going to leave you to your own research on how to finally use all that, because we could kind of be here forever. Finally, I wanted to talk about the changes to his Monado art. And while I still personally believe that the changes to his landing lag is probably going to be more important to Shulk as a whole than these, I think these are probably the most interesting changes because they're just kind of cool. This is kind of the reason you pick up Shulk and his main mechanic. So let's get into these. Now, first off, I'm going to have to say the negatives, which is that they do have longer cooldowns now and do last a shorter amount of time, so you can't just kind of be in shield and be in speed all game long. But they are much more powerful when active, essentially acting as Hyper Monado Arts, the custom move from Smash 4. Now, as far as the arts themselves, speed gives you more speed than ever before, and combos a lot better now with his reduced landing lag, but does a little bit less damage per hit than the last game. Jump was honestly mainly just kind of nerfed because you could use that and shield and just kind of stall out forever, so they wanted to get rid of that, but it's still a really great way to recover, and that's honestly nice because it as well helps you edge guard, which is very important in this game. Shield makes you do even less damage than in the previous game, but as a benefit, you pretty much live forever with it, and you actually take set knockback and reduced knockback, which is just, godlike as this character. Buster, with your reduced landing lag, gives you a ton of true combos and follow-ups, and actually gives you more freeze frames, so you can actually get more combos now. And finally, Smash lets you cheese characters and kill them extremely early, letting you kill certain characters at around like 50% with your F smash. These changes all let you just act a lot more out of your arts, let you do more stuff with your arts, but they as well give you a little bit more weakness while actually using your arts. In a lot of cases, you take more damage or do a little bit less percent. Keep this in mind while playing Shulk, and don't really feel like you have to play them and use them all the time, because as well, vanilla Shulk is pretty fine as he is in most cases. As Shulk in this game, I feel like he really needs to prioritize spacing both offensively and defensively. Now, honestly, he's not really stuck playing in one way or the other. You can kind of choose what you want to do. but he is stuck dealing with the startup lag, so you have to make sure that, essentially, before you go for any move, you do have enough time for it to come out before your opponent can get up to you and hit you. As well, you have to make sure that you never land way too close to your opponent or just try to attack your opponent near the ground too quick, because a lot of the times, again, it will take you a while for you to get your attack out. Now, honestly, a perfectly spaced Shulk can feel almost impossible to beat against a lot of characters, and in this game, the thing to remember is that even though his tipper will do a little bit less percent than the inside of his sword, it actually is safe to hit with, unlike in Smash 4, which is a great change. It means you can space a lot better, and overall be a lot more consistent in keeping people out of your bubble and making sure that they aren't hitting you while you are easily hitting them. Now, following the trend of many other sword characters in Ultimate, Shulk also has a good deal of combos. Now, honestly, most of these are probably only going to be 2 to 3 hit combos, but they are extremely reliable, and since Shulk does so much damage per hit, especially in Buster, you really don't have to worry about missing out on way too much damage. Now, I'm going to say right here, if you 100% master Shulk, master all of his cancels, make so every single Monado links into another one, you can get a lot of stuff going on with Shulk and get a lot of very long combos, honestly. But I'm going to say for the average player, that's not a thing you should mainly focus on right now. Honestly, just focus on the simple stuff, learn how to space, learn how to combo a lot of your spacing moves, mainly your nair and down tilt and grab, into, actually hitting your opponent to other attacks, and that's going to help you a lot more than just trying to get these very situational combos. Sure, it may be eventually worth your time to learn, but I'm going to say right now, maybe don't put too much time into that, and mainly focus on your fundamentals, spacing, getting your damage, and all that. Another thing I want to say if you're planning on learning Shulk is that you're going to have to learn how to control his speed. In both speed and jump bar, he becomes one of the quickest characters in the game, but he becomes very hard to use effectively. You need to make sure that you can keep up your spacing in these modes, as he is going to be a little bit less safe, as he does a little bit less damage per hit, and that does less damage on shield. And honestly, just make sure that you're timing your attacks just right so that you won't be hit every time you're trying to go in and out. Remember that he does play quite a bit differently in these modes, and honestly, just don't go way too ham and put in quite a bit of time into training mode to become effective with these. Edgeguarding is another big part about Shulk in this game. He's always been amazing at this, but with the general nerf to recoveries, he can edgeguard the majority of the cast way better now. Essentially, all you gotta do is get into jump or smash mode, jump off a stage, and then go full forward air or down air, depending on what your opponent's probably going to do. Both of these are going to kill super early, or just put your opponent into another bad situation where you can do this again and again and again, racking up a lot of damage even if you don't just straight up kill them. And honestly, this makes Shulk game plan in a lot of cases just get your opponent off stage, try to edgeguard them, get a lot of damage, rinse, repeat. Of course, you can choose if you want to do that, if you want to focus on something else, but that can be a very solid strategy as Shulk, and something I do quite a bit. I want to end this part by talking about when to use each Monado in basic terms. Now, the TLDR is that Buster is used for combo and spacing and is very good when you're in an advantage state and you have your opponent in a very disadvantageous position. Speed is great for combos, mobility, and mix-up, and good if your opponent keeps running away. Jump, of course, is great for recovery, juggling, and edge guarding. Shield is great for that set knockback it gives you, and as well, it helps you get out of certain combos, or a high percent just makes so that you never die, so go into that situation. And finally, Smash is just great for stupidly early kills, and it's a great tool to use if you happen to know your opponent has a certain thing that they keep using again and again and again, and you want to punish that and kill your opponent. Now, as I said before, you don't need to be using these modes all the time, and you have to realize that sometimes it's actually better to save them for later, mainly that being jump and shield, for when the times get really tough. And of course, don't be too afraid to use vanilla Shulk. I know a lot of people just want to use art after art after art, but you don't really have to focus on doing that all the time. Just using normal Shulk and then switching to the arts that are going to help you when you need them can be a very valid strategy, and can help you not waste your art all the time. I'm going to say right here that, again, Shulk has a ton of tech that you can learn off of websites like Shulk 101, a Shulk Discord, or just go onto YouTube and search up Shulk tech from Smash 4, and the majority of it is going to apply, and there's going to be even more Ultimate tech coming out pretty soon. But honestly, that's all really fine and dandy to learn, but I think the more important thing is just, simply put, getting used to quickly swapping between your Monado arts when you need to use them, and learning how to actually cancel them in neutral. Now as well, if you can finally get that down, you can learn to also cancel them while you're being comboed, for example, to help reduce damage in Buster or in another art, or for example, learn how to change into a certain Monado mid-combo and get combos and damage that you couldn't otherwise get. Overall, I'm going to say that there's a ton of other stuff to learn as this character, and there is a very high skill ceiling. What we should do mainly is just focus on when to use Monados, and don't focus way too much on cool tech. Because while it is awesome that you're going to be able to do that there's all this stuff ready for you, if you focus on it too much, you're going to kind of focus on yourself and lose track of the game very easily. The opponent's going to be learning what you're doing while you're not really learning what they're doing, and that can be a really big problem for you. Of course, there is a ton of tech to learn and to find out, and there's huge land cancels that can honestly just help you so much when landing. But if you can just master spacing and timing first, you're going to be a lot more effective than the more tech-focused Shulks. And there you go, these are all the reasons to why you should be maining Shulk. Now if you have a certain character you want me to cover in the future, comment down below, hashtag that character name, why you should main or WYSM, and hit the subscribe button / notification bell to actually see that guide when it comes out. If not, maybe comment why you want to main Shulk, or what your favorite part about his kit is, or what favorite change you have in this game. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, or click at the top of the screen right now for a carded playlist of more Smash Ultimate Why You Should Main videos, including a Why You Should Main on Ike, which is a pretty similar character, so that might be good for you. As always, guys, thank you all for watching, and have a smashing day.